The drama on The Bold and the Beautiful has always thrived on layers of deception, family secrets, and shocking turns that have viewers wondering everything they thought they knew about the characters they follow on a weekly basis. In recent months, the plot surrounding Luna Nozawa's alleged death has sent shockwaves throughout Los Angeles, notably among the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families. Luna, formerly a fairly sweet young woman caught up in confusing family dynamics and deadly obsessions, died in what seemed to be a terrible hit-and-run accident. Who drove? Dylan was the art teacher who had only met Luna briefly before fate intervened in the most horrific way. Dylan's revelation to Elektra about the incident exacerbated the group's grief and guilt as they faced with the reality of Luna's absence. Authorities confirmed it, loved ones mourned, and life in the beautiful yet volatile world of fashion and family ties appeared to be moving onward, albeit with scars. However, soap operas rarely allow such finality to persist without sowing seeds of doubt. Whispers began to spread among fans and within the show's tight web of relationships that Dylan's entrance and interactions seemed odd. She seamlessly blended herself into Elektra and Will's lives, finding a place to stay and enjoying moments that blurred the lines between friendship and something more serious. Elektra, the eternal optimist and trusting soul, greeted Dylan cordially, seeing in her a kindred spirit recuperating from adversity. Will, negotiating his own young problems, became closer to her as well, possibly drawn to her fragility or her capacity to grasp his world without judgment. However, not everyone shared such warmth. Ivy Forrester, with her quick senses honed by years in the ruthless fashion world and her protective streak for those she cares about, never really believed Dylan's story. Ivy's suspicions simmered beneath the surface, fueled by minor contradictions, lingering stares, and an unshakable belief that the newcomer carried secrets too weighty to keep hidden. As tensions rose, Ivy's confrontations with Dylan became increasingly direct. She questioned Dylan's motivations, her sudden closeness to Will and Elektra, and the fortuitous timing of her arrival in their life following Luna's death. Dylan replied with practiced calm, explaining she was just trying to rebuild after a horrific accident that had left her homeless and jobless. She described her guilt about Luna's death, as well as dreams about the moment her car collided with the young woman who had run into the road. To outsiders, it portrayed remorseful redemption. But Ivy noticed holes in Dylan's facade, moments when his expressions shifted to something darker and more planned. The Australian-born designer, known for her candor and refusal to ignore threats to her family, began probing deeper. She observed exchanges intently, noting Dylan's apparent familiarity with some events from Luna's past, and devised a scenario that felt both impossible and unavoidable. The buildup culminated in a tense incident that no one saw coming. Ivy, armed with accumulating evidence and an unwavering drive to protect Elektra and Will from harm, cornered Dylan in a secret setting away from prying eyes. The air bristled with accusation as Ivy lay out her case. The strange behaviors, the too-perfect timing of events, the nagging suspicion that Dylan was not who she claimed. Dylan objected, her voice solid at first, but weakening as Ivy pressed harder. In a fit of frustration and certainty, Ivy reached out in a bold, irreversible move. Her fingers clutched the edge near Dylan's face, pulling with firm conviction. What happened next broke every assumption in the room. The mask, if it could even be called that, peeled away, revealing features that caused a collective scream from everybody witnessing or envisioning the event. Under the meticulously created facade, Luna Nozawa was alive, defiant, and revealed in the most literal and dramatic sense. The realization struck like a thunderclap. Luna, who was assumed dead following the accident, had devised an elaborate hoax. Perhaps the body hit by Dylan's car was not hers at all, or she engineered the entire scenario with the help of shady connections, switching identities in a bid for freedom or vengeance. The hows and whys rushed in right away. Had Luna slain the actual Dylan and acquired her identity through prosthetics or surgical alterations? Or was the mask a high-tech instrument, a temporary disguise to enter the lives of those she had previously targeted? Whatever the technicalities, the truth was undeniable. Luna had survived, recreated herself, and moved among them undetected. The emotional consequence was immediate and terrible. Electra, who had bonded with Dylan via their shared vulnerabilities, felt the agony of betrayal the most. Her freely offered faith disintegrated in an instant. Will, torn between devotion to his friend and the anguish of discovering he'd been duped, reeled from the consequences. How much of their conversations were genuine, and how much manipulation? Ivy, while vindicated, had the burden of having exposed a monster in their midst. Her actions, while heroic in intent, caused instability that threatened to swallow the entire Forrester empire and beyond. Steffi, who was already dealing with corporate struggles and personal reconciliations, would soon face the fallout from Luna's homecoming, which dug up old wounds, obsessions with Finn, disagreements with the Logans, and the lingering shadow of her crime. Luna's survival reframed everything that had happened since her death. And Dylan's confession to Electra? A deliberate performance to elicit pity. The intimacy with Will? Perhaps a warped continuation of her obsession with the Spencer heir, or a means to an end. What about the actual accident? Her death was most likely staged in order to avoid prosecution. Luna had always been cunning, concealing her darker urges beneath a mask of purity. Now, stripped of her disguise, she stood revealed as a master manipulator capable of the most extreme deceptions. The issue on everyone's mind became, what did she want now? Revenge on those who imprisoned her? Is she reclaiming her role in the family? Or something more terrible, a new plan to destroy the lives that had rejected her? The Forrester home and Spencer residences were abuzz, with frantic conversations in the days following the unmasking. Ridge and Brooke discussed how to protect their children from the impact. Bill Spencer, ever the guardian, rallied to keep Will safe from any remaining dangers. Finn, troubled by his prior involvement in Luna's plots, braced for Steffi's reaction. The fashion industry, which was already fraught with conflicts, suddenly had another layer of scandal that could spill into the public eye. Reporters hovered, rumors circulated on social media, and the once certain narrative of Luna's terrible death shifted dramatically. However, despite the shock, glimmers of deeper questions appeared. Was Luna genuinely irredeemable? Or did circumstances, family betrayals, lost love, and the strain of secrets drive her to this point? Ivy's audacious conduct pushed everyone to confront not just the lie, but also the human cost of it. Luna's eyes, now unobstructed, were filled with defiance and possibly a hint of regret. The path forward remained unclear: arrest, confrontation, or another twist in which Luna slipped away to scheme again. It was evident that the unveiling had permanently altered the environment. Trust, once broken, would take time to repair. Relationships tested by this level of deception may never fully heal. And in the bright, unpredictable world of the bold and the beautiful, where love and lies are so inextricably linked, Luna's reveal as the living, breathing Dylan served as a striking reminder that death is never truly complete when revenge or atonement still burns in someone's heart. The plot continued to unfurl with breathtaking intensity, with each episode revealing another layer of mystery. Luna's reappearance promised long-awaited conflicts, shifting alliances, and possibly redemption journeys for characters who had wandered from their moral foundations. Ivy's determined remove of that mask did more than just disclose a face. It ripped up the fabric of the show's reality, forcing every character to reconsider who they could genuinely rely on in a city where appearances lie and the past refuses to be forgotten. As the dust settled from the initial shock, one truth became clear. Luna was alive, and with her resurrection came the possibility of more heartbreak, drama, and unforgettable moments that keep viewers coming back episode after episode to see what happens next in this never-ending story of passion, betrayal, and unbreakable family bonds. The chamber was unusually silent for a location with so many secrets. Ivy stood near the center, her fingers trembling slightly as she gazed at the man everyone assumed to be Dylan. For weeks, even months, the mystery surrounding him had grown like a storm cloud. His behavior had never truly reflected the man they recalled. His eyes occasionally reflected a different kind of sorrow or strength. And tonight, the truth will finally be revealed. The tension around her was overwhelming. Ridge moved slowly. Brooke stood with her arms held tightly across her chest, and Steffi stared with skeptical eyes. Even Liam, who had attempted to have an open mind about everything, appeared apprehensive. The mood was like the moment before lightning struck. Dylan, or the man everyone knew as Dylan, stood perfectly motionless. He appeared cool, but Ivy observed a little tightening of his jaw. He knew what was coming. "You've been lying to all of us," Ivy eventually remarked, her voice firm but full of anger. The room exploded with murmurs. "What are you talking about?" Liam asked. Steffi frowned. "Ivy, this isn't funny." But Ivy didn't look at them. Her gaze stayed fixed on Dylan. "Tell them," she replied gently. "Or I will." After a long pause, nothing happened. Dylan just gazed at her. He then smiled slowly, almost sadly. "I guess the truth always finds a way," he joked. Brooke stepped forward. "What truth?" Rather than responding, Ivy reached out. Her hand gripped Dylan's face. Initially, no one understood what she was doing. Then she pulled. A small layer of substance peeled off his skin. Gasps erupted around the room. The mask came off in one seamless move. The face underneath was not Dylan's. It was Luna. The hush that ensued was deafening. Steffi's eyes expanded so widely that it appeared she would pass out. Liam stumbled back a step. Ridge paused his pacing and stared, as if unable to absorb what he was witnessing. "Luna?" Brooke whispered. The woman standing in front of them exhaled gently, as if she'd been holding her breath for weeks. "Yes," she replied softly. "It's me." Chaos ensued instantly. "This can't be happening," Steffi exclaimed. "You are meant to be dead," Liam added. Ridge's voice was cold as ice. "Explain. Now." Luna looked around the room at the startled expressions of those who had mourned her, feared her, questioned her, and sought answers that never came. "I know this is a shock," she remarked cautiously. Steffi scoffed loudly. "But I didn't have a choice." "You didn't have a choice. You pretended to die and roamed around wearing someone else's face." Ivy moved forward again. "She didn't fake her death," Ivy remarked. Everyone gazed at her. "What do you mean?" Brooke inquired. Ivy took a big breath. "Luna was supposed to die." These words hung in the air like poison. Months before, the incident had affected everyone. Luna was trapped in an explosion that left nearly nothing behind. Authorities pronounced her deceased. The family grieved. Memorial services were held. Tears were shed. But Ivy felt something was always awry. After the explosion, Ivy said slowly, "Someone discovered her." Luna nodded. "I'm barely alive. They took me somewhere no one would ever look," she explained. "Somewhere hidden," Ridge requested. Luna paused. "That's the problem," she added. "I'm still not sure who they were." Confusion rippled around the room. "Do you expect us to believe that?" Steffi snapped. "I woke up in a private medical facility," Luna told reporters. "They treated my injuries. They kept me alive. But they never explained why." "Why keep me a secret?" Liam asked. "That's what I wanted to know," Luna said. "For weeks, I wanted answers. Every time I asked, they said the same thing. If the world knew I lived, more people would die." Brooke's palm rushed to her lips. "That sounds insane," Steffi said. "Maybe," Luna replied gently. "But then they showed me the proof." Ridge crossed his arms. "Proof of what?" "That someone strong wanted me dead." The words froze the atmosphere, once more. Luna's gaze traveled gently across their features. "They warned me that if I returned too soon, whomever tried to kill me would finish the job. And they would not stop with me." "So you remained hidden?" Liam asked. "Yes." "And the mask?" Brooke inquired. "That came later." Luna stated that after she recovered enough to move around, the mysterious organization presented her with a plan. They wanted someone to keep a careful eye on particular people who had been involved in the explosion. "Dylan had recently disappeared," she explained. "They felt someone was already mimicking him. So they made a disguise and told me to take his place." Steffi shook her head in surprise. "This is insane." "I thought so too," Luna said. "However, I needed answers. And pretending to be Dylan allowed me access to things I would not have seen otherwise." Ivy glanced at her, understanding. Like the files, Ivy replied quietly. Luna nodded.
Yes.
The files. Ridge approached. What files? Luna paused again. Then she uttered something no one expected. Files related to your company. Shock spread throughout the crowd. Impossible, Ridge replied. But true, Luna said. She described how, while living as Dylan, she gradually discovered concealed financial records, secret partnerships, and questionable payments buried deep within corporate operations. Payments related to the night of the explosion. I thought it was a coincidence at first, Luna told me. But the further I dug, the clearer it became. Someone in your world paid to quiet me. Quiet you about what? Brooke inquired. Luna dropped her voice. About what I saw that night. Everyone leaned in little. What did you see? Liam asked. Luna gave him a direct glance. I saw who planted the bomb. The suspense grew excruciating. Who? Steffi demanded. But Luna did not respond immediately. Instead, she turned to Ivy. You were right, Luna murmured gently. Ivy nodded. They deserve to know.
Yes.
They do. Luna took a long breath. The person responsible is someone sitting in this room. Chaos erupted anew. Do not play games, Ridge snapped. I'm not, Luna answered simply. Steffi looked around furiously. Who is it? Luna's gaze went carefully across each face.
Brooke.
Liam.
Steffi. Ridge. Ivy.
Every second seemed like an eternity. Finally, Luna paused. Her gaze focused on a single person. The color vanished from that person's face instantaneously. You, Luna said quietly. The accusation devastated the entire room. No, the accused murmured. But Luna's voice remained steady. I saw you that night, she explained. I saw you plant the device before anyone else arrived. Panic washed over the individual's face. You're lying. Am I? Luna inquired. Ridge appeared enraged. Answer her. But before anyone could respond further, the accused rushed for the door. Liam moved first, blocking the exit. Going somewhere, he stated. In a matter of seconds, the room had gone from shock to confrontation. The mask was off. The truth was out. And Luna was no longer hidden. She had returned from the dead with answers and allegations capable of destroying everything. Steffi looked at her with bewilderment. You planned all of this, she said. Luna shakes her head.
No.
I made it. Brooke approached Luna, still trying to grasp everything. You were really alive this whole time, she replied softly. Yes. And you lived among us pretending to be someone else. I had to, Luna told me. Ridge's voice echoed throughout the room. We'll deal with it later. Right now, we're dealing with the truth. The accused individual appeared stuck, surrounded by the weight of Luna's revelation. Sweat beaded on their brow. You don't understand, they exclaimed desperately. Oh, I understand perfectly, Luna said. You were never supposed to survive, the individual exclaimed. Again, gasps echoed around the room. Luna's expression stiffened. Exactly. The confession lingered in the air. Steffi appeared surprised. They tried to kill you, she murmured. Yes. And now the truth is finally here. Luna looked around at the folks who had assumed she had vanished forever. I didn't come back for vengeance, she explained calmly. I came back for justice. And for the first time since the mask was off, everyone realized something unmistakable. They believed they'd lost the woman, but she was stronger than ever. Luna had returned from the dead. Their world would never be the same again.